Hello everybody, and welcome to a Hearth-warming tale.
It's a pony kind of Christmas.
Now, I know we haven't done My Little Pony in a while, but we've been consumed by a lot of other shows recently. So for the first time in a while, we'll be getting back to our roots, which is like a breath of fresh air, because we've been reviewing the same two shows for the past couple of months.
All around the world of Equestria, Christmas is here to stay.
I'll be honest, ever since No Second Prances aired, I've basically been on pony detox. I was just getting so fed up with all of the little problems that kept intruding on episodes like The Crystalling, which we reviewed. Plus, even some of the better episodes just weren't holding my interest, and I just felt like I needed a break.
For me, I mainly just didn't watch because I was too lazy to go back through and see all of the episodes. I forgot that My Little Pony existed for a while because we were doing so many other things, and by the time that I remembered it's a show I like, we were already a ton of episodes in. So, yeah.
But now that it's December, and the Christmas-themed videos are in the chute, maybe it's time to get back into the swing of things with this show. So let's give My Little Pony another chance by looking at their Christmas special, A Hearth-warming Tale. Was that pun really necessary, guys?
So we open up with a happy Hearth-warming Eve song.
Pony's voices fill the night. Hearth-warming Eve is here once again.
It's exactly what you'd expect from a happy Hearth-warming Eve song. It's bright, kind of fast-paced, and is way too cutesy for its own good.
Hearth-warming Eve is here once again.
Oh yeah, that's right, this is a musical episode, because we're having one of those every season now. And this is a fairly cute way to introduce the Hearth-warming theme, even if there are a few odd lyrics.
The chill wind blows.
Yeah, man, that's one chill wind blowing through here, the chillest in town. The Hearth-warming Eve wind is the most chill bro we've got.
After the song, we cut to Starlight telling Spike and Twilight that she's just going to skip Hearth-warming Eve this year. And they freak out.
Starlight actually has kind of a reasonable conflict in this episode. She doesn't really see Hearth-warming Eve as anything other than an excuse to party and open presents. She doesn't see the meaning behind the celebration. That isn't too much of a far cry off from the people lamenting that, say, Christmas is nothing but consumerism anymore in specials like A Charlie Brown Christmas. And best of all, it has nothing to do with Starlight's past, so we don't need to talk on and on about it like we did in The Crystalling.
So Twilight decides to read Starlight a story called A Hearth-warming Tale. It's the name of the episode! And it basically is a ripoff of A Christmas Carol, which I guess isn't terrible since they hadn't done that before in the show, and it was fun to watch, so I can't really complain.
At the very least, they're using a story with more substance than the original Hearth-warming Eve. Even Starlight sounds bored with that oversimplified story.
Earth ponies, Pegasi, and unicorns sing songs around a hearth to fight back an eternal winter caused by the mythical Wendigos.
The story begins with a pony named Snowfall Frost being a Hearth-warming Eve hater. She was a very studied pony who did not think that Hearth-warming Eve was a valuable holiday. Her house was the only one not decorated in the entire town, and she, if it wasn't obvious enough, is Scrooge.
Now, Snowfall Frost is portrayed as Starlight here, even if the characters don't exactly line up. Unlike Starlight, Snowfall thinks that Hearth-warming Eve is a dangerous holiday because it distracts ponies from working hard and using their skills to help Equestria, something that Snowfall thinks is more important than anything else. But I guess the point of the story is to show the true meaning of Hearth-warming Eve, and if that's your goal, it doesn't matter why the protagonist is down on the holiday. Still, her rambling is enough to drive her assistant, shown here as Rainbow Dash, away from her workplace.
Say goodbye to the holiday.
So, Snowfall breaks into song, and to sum up what she talked about, she's basically going to erase Hearth-warming Eve from existence by removing a day from the calendar.
With my magic, I'll erase it.
Question. Wouldn't removing a day from the calendar mess up how the months and season changes align with the rotation of the Earth? And then after the accumulation of this missing day, wouldn't the way that months pass and seasons change be totally off? But I guess it doesn't really matter since they control the seasons and they control the day and night.
Goodbye, hearts warming, you had a good run.
Either way, the song she sings is pretty decent, even if I think it sounds a bit awkward at times. It almost sounds like something out of The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is actually kind of fitting in its own clever way.
Compared to the other songs in this episode though, this is definitely one of my favorites.
Wait a minute. Snowfall doesn't like Hearth's warming Eve, so she decides to cast a spell to get rid of it altogether? That seems a little extreme.
Says the pony who tried to make every pony the same by replacing their cutie marks.
Oh, please don't remind me. I'm trying so desperately to forget.
It's so real though, like seriously, when I first watched this, when Starlight said that, I was about to say, says you, pony who did all that, but Spike beat me to it! Sick burn, Spike. Sick burn.
So, in keeping with the A Christmas Carol framework, Snowfall is visited by the spirit of Hearth's warming past, played here by Applejack. She lassos Snowfall up and takes her to the past to learn about herself.
They travel to the town she grew up in, and immediately Snowfall loses all of her stone cold villain points and bursts into tears. I don't care if you're in the town you grew up in. I don't care if you're remembering something that happened to you as a child. You are supposed to be the heartless, emotionless villain. What happened? Scrooge cracked later than you.
A song happened, that's what.
As a young thing, life sure is something.
Applejack sings a very Applejack-sounding musical number about how what happens in the past affects us in the present.
Every little bitty choice you make sends you down a path to who you are today.
It's a pretty pleasant song, if you ask me.
Snowfall's old teacher tells her that she shouldn't be celebrating Hearth's warming and that you shouldn't be a good person and you should be a social shut-in who studies all the time and works herself over to the point of overexertion.
The seeds of the past.
The song finishes off with Child Snowfall evidently hurt by the teacher's words, but nonetheless obeying his demands. So now we know why Snowfall hates Hearth's warming Eve. A few heartless words from the person she looked up to sent her on a downward spiral.
And next we have the spirit of Hearth's warming presents, Pinkie Pie.
Fine. Presents. All of the pointless things that ponies waste their time on.
And notice how she's back to her stone cold self less than a minute after being in tears. Because that's how emotions work. Totally.
And just like with the last spirit, we have a song.
Take a look at everything around you, all the smells that surely will astound you.
It's perfect.
It is a really good song.
Magic of heartwarming Eve.
I like both this and Snowfall song equally, but for different reasons. Snowfall song is a favorite of mine because it's so sinister, but Pinkie Pie song is also a favorite of mine because it's the cutest thing ever.
What a party, there's so much.
This is by far my favorite song in the episode. It just has such a wonderful, fun sound to it that really fits with the holiday season. We haven't really had a My Little Pony song that sounds like this one until now, and that gives it a fresh feeling that I feel we don't always get now that My Little Pony is 6 seasons into its run. I'm glad to see that with this episode, the songwriting team is trying out new styles and pushing their boundaries to sound more Christmassy.
Open your eyes, spend time.
The song finishes with the overall message being that it's not about what the gifts are, but what they mean.
And the reason is to be with your friends.
Snowfall still isn't convinced.
What does Snowfall think a better Equestria looks like? Ponies working hard, learning, and using their abilities for the benefit of Equestria.
Okay, this is some awkward wording here. I get what Rainbow Dash is supposed to be saying, that Starlight's vision for a perfect Equestria doesn't make time for being with friends, but with how it's worded, it sort of sounds like she thinks that using your skills to better Equestria is an inherently bad thing, which it isn't. Ugh, social progress? Who needs that garbage?
In comes the spirit of Hearth's warming yet to come, Luna.
I see a cold wind blowing through.
She basically tells Snowfall that if she takes a day off from the calendar and erases Hearth's warming Eve forever, that the world will end.
The days ahead are dark and tragic.
Yes, because one missing holiday will permanently ruin all of the happiness and harmony inside of the entire world. That's how it works. Yep, definitely. Nothing wrong with that. No, there's no such thing as, I don't know, Hanukkah. People celebrate during Hanukkah. 4th of July, people celebrate then, too. There's a ton of other holidays where people come together. Pony's birthdays come and go, too. That happens all the time. Parties for that constantly. But no, none of that matters. Missing Hearthwarming Eve means death, destruction, and sadness for the entire world forever. Totally, because that makes sense.
I see days neither fun nor free.
I really want to like this scene. Princess Luna makes a really cool appearance as the spirit, and the song she sings about the future sounds really good.
The future should be filled with magic.
But yeah, this is just a giant plot hole. I get the idea. When no pony has any time set aside to socialize and have fun, people are sad and things move nowhere. The show even brings back the Wendigos, evil spirits from the first Hearthwarming Eve episode that use hatred and sadness to create unending blizzards and snowstorms. The implication being that erasing Hearthwarming Eve would bring them back. But again, there are other holidays. Erasing one day won't end it all. I guess Hearthwarming Eve is supposed to just be a microcosm of every single time that ponies gather to have fun, rolled up into one super symbolic day. But that's not really how it works. Also,
Whatever might have been, all the dreams that ponies share. Because of you, snowfall, frost. Now the future is a cold nightmare.
that's not how grammar works. The subject of this sentence is whatever may have been the dreams that ponies share. There needs to be a verb acting on the subject of that sentence. Sure, we have the verb is, but that's acting on the future, which is broken off from the subject by the phrase because of you. Either way, Snowfall is totally convinced by this scare tactic and is flung back into the present.
And the story ends with Snowfall heading to the party and giving everyone gifts. The end. Shortly after, Starlight ends up going down to the Hearthwarming party herself. Everyone there sings a reprise of the Hearthwarming Eve song from the beginning, and it ends off on a happy note. Before I go into my rating of it, I want to point out that apparently in Equestria, the Eve of Hearthwarming is more important than the actual Hearthwarming. I guess everything happened on the eve? What's the point of even having the day? They should be celebrating on the day that it happened instead of celebrating what happened as an eve. The celebration should be on the day, not the day before the day, you know? No? Okay. And maybe the day is just actually called Eve. But that'd be even more stupid. Anyway, I would give this episode a 4.5 out of 5. It had well-written songs. I liked the animation in some parts of it, especially with Applejack. The plotline, although based on A Christmas Carol, was original enough to be entertaining, and all around, the episode has a good rewatchability. Pretty great Christmas special, if I do say so myself.
This is probably my favorite of the 3 Christmas episodes we've gotten from this show so far. Between the very seasonal visuals and the musical numbers, it really captures the holiday spirit. It's entertaining, has just enough substance as a story to hold my attention, and it actually makes good use of Starlight Glimmer. That being said, there is that giant plot hole in the 3rd act, which, yeah, I can't defend that at all. Still, the rest of the episode is pretty good, so I guess I'll give this a 3.4 out of 5. The story has flaws, but as a fun thing to watch in December, I think it's fine enough. So there you have it.
So, thank you one and all for watching, and happy holidays from the Diamonds. Bye!
Decorations we shall make.
Hearthwarming Eve is here once again.
Perfection you just cannot fake.
Hearthwarming Eve is here once again.
Not one mistake. Don't let that break. Oh, goodness sake.
Hearthwarming Eve is here once again. Hearthwarming Eve. Hearthwarming Eve is here once again.
You know what? Suddenly I'm not feeling this Christmas thing. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Just suddenly I feel like I just don't want to bother this year. Can we just skip to New Year's Day or something? Ah!
Shh! Don't say that! The Wendigos are watching!